Yeah, absolutely. I asked one artist friend if she could think of being a model for me in this particular series, and she was hesitating and asking me that. Oh, she was saying that are you aware of that you become the perpetrator in this moment where you ask me to fall? I felt so.
You were like, what? Hold on.
Yeah, exactly. But I felt that she partly was right, actually, and I had to think about why am I doing this, and I think partly I needed to repeat this action for myself to somehow understand the bad parts I've been through. All right, so this led me then to the series Fallen Grace, which the name was, and kind of the title comes very late, but Fallen Grace is referring to, you know, fallen status, you are not respected anymore, and so on. And it actually, I wanted that name in the end because somehow some of the society's approach to this problem, this social issue, is that, or things that I've heard a lot, is that but why she's going back, you know, she can, if she wants to go back, then it's her thing, you know. So a bit like, you know, um, how to say,
It's victim blaming. It's
victim blaming, yeah. So,
yeah,
and I think
yeah.
this issue is not black and white. It's really it's multifaceted
Yeah,
issue.
multifaceted for sure. It's
Multifaceted, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. I have a mentor that tells me look for the diamond, you know. It's
Mm,
rarely black and white. And every situation is a diamond, and like a diamond, many faces to it, many
yeah,
angles. And
yeah,
it's one of the things that I really appreciated about this whole series, and I'm actually um, quite taken by the fact that you have multiple expressions of the same kind of topic because you're showing the many faces to it, and
yeah,
it's quite powerful. So I'll let you kind of talk about this angle and
yeah,
let you jump back in.
yeah. Well, thank you for saying that, because that is exactly also what I feel, that it's I'm not ready with the subject because it's so, you know, I start, like I said, I started from the victim's perspective, and I say now I continue from the survivor's perspective. But I think you have to say also, go to examine also the society's perspective and
Oh yeah,
attitudes, as well as the perpetrators. But I'm not yet there.
yeah.
Yeah, so fallen grace. I asked my friends, artist friends mostly, and other friends, to if they could be models for me in a conceptual way, and to uh, depict this violent act in the landscape. And as I said, I was interested to take the violent act out in the landscape for everyone to be able to see it or and react. And there is just these. I have two images where they are falling in the water, especially here. Of course, I had just one chance, so there is just one unique negative. I think we tried. This was the third time because I didn't succeed with light and exposure times and so on until this one. Um, and for me, yeah, as I said, the landscape was is important, and the fact that I wanted to create some kind of the repeated action is important. So because the violence is often repeated. So what I want to equal the repetition with that what is going on in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
Um,
You had also written in an interview that you were having these models do this, and you had found you had kind of found yourself in a perplexing situation. And
True.
do you know what I'm? Yeah. And can you talk to me about that a little bit? And
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Asked one artist friend if she could think of being a model for me in this particular Syrian, and she was hesitating and asking me that. Or she was saying that are you aware of that you become the perpetrator in this moment where you ask me to fall? I felt so.
you were like, "What? Hold on."
Yeah, exactly. But I felt that she partly was right, actually, and I had to think about why am I doing this, and I think partly I needed to repeat this action for myself to somehow understand the bad parts I've been through, and also to somehow also justify what I've been through. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
um,
100%. Yeah.
so, and of course, it was a very good question, and it happened that 3 of those 7 women I was that was participating in my project had also been victim of an abusement in a relationship, and some of them that I wasn't even aware of. So that says also something about the taboo about this topic, um, and also the statistic about this, because every third woman has been experienced. That is the numbers of what the statistic is showing, that every third woman has experienced domestic violence, and that's a huge number.
Yeah, it's really interesting, that thought that you had there, and also how the how that brought that up to you. It's almost that's another one of those facets that you're talking about:
Yeah,
the
yeah.
victim, the perpetrator, society, and
Mm.
it's a fascinating thing. Did you continue after that, and what were you thinking after that? I know if somebody were to deliver, I call those thought bombs. You know what I mean? Something
Mm.
that just
Yeah.
kind of just blows up your perspective and makes you kind of think about things a little differently. How did you? How did that affect you, and so on? I'm kind of curious.
Mm. Well, of course, it was. Um, uh, Somehow I felt that this is really important that I do it,
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, for
I
sure.
continue. But of course, before that, as well as, but it became even more important for me to really create a safe space through these photo sessions. We had really good discussions, and um, every time the friend was falling for me, it was very emotional, hard for both of us, I would say. Um, and so, yeah, of course, I asked a lot from them. And of course, also when some of them had the same experience as me. But
Yeah,
I think also we have to address that that if this could be healing, like become a healing process, a part of my healing process, then maybe it could also be a part of their healing process, as well as for somebody who as a viewer, which I really hope. And some of the feedback I've gotten comes from women who has the same experience, and somehow I think if you can, so what I would like to here in this series, I still was how to say, more into this problem and issue, the social issue, what the domestic violence is, but more now I would like to transform that pain to something good. For example, the repetition and the repetitive in my art is referring to the violent acts. But if you think about what that repeated action is doing, because it gets deeply rooted in your body, right? But that could also be transformed into another kind of mantra, I say, like if you start to do something that is part of your healing process and you repeat that enough times, then that will also be anchored in your body, and you kind of transform the pain to something good. Is it making sense?
100%. 100.
Yeah.
It's just you're delivering thought bombs for me. So I'm processing it, and it's really quite thoughtful. It's powerful. I thought that story about you know, for you, it's like, and what I really enjoy about your work is that the process is almost as important as the end result, you know?
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's makes this series really, really strong, you know? And it actually, it has a, I'm looking deeper into the image because of that.
Yeah.
And because it's got, of course it's a very strong topic, you know, it's but the whole, you're talking about trauma, you're talking about healing, you're talking about so much, and it's all buried into one image.